Open till midnight. They're selling music, but not selling out. The music is the glue of the world. It holds it all together. What's with today? Today, damn the man, save the empire. This is the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 66, Empire Records.
Superman.
Hello and welcome to episode 66 of the Cult Faction Podcast, where tonight we cast the spotlight on Empire Records. I'll be your host, Brett Summers, and joining me this evening are...
Damien Hicks.
Paul Hawkins.
The team is still together. 2 in a row now without any illnesses. We're doing well. We're on a roll. What have we been up to, guys? What's been happening? Paul?
Barbecue, christening, work.
Exciting. Damien?
That was like that new app. 3 words. Make
sure you get your stuff delivered.
That's where I want my package delivered. Barbecue, christening, work. Oh, I wonder where that is. I bet that's a real place somewhere.
It's probably a new Bob Dylan album.
I'll see if I can look it up.
Damien?
Well, I built a barbecue bar, went to a wedding, went to a christening.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
I went to a wedding, and that was enough, really, yeah. It was a lovely wedding, but, you know, when it's family, it's a little bit...
Careful what you say.
Yeah.
It was a great wedding.
No, it was a lovely wedding.
Lovely people. Great to see everyone.
But, you know, when it's family and you're the best man, bro, or the best pro, as it was established, and you've got to do a speech, you know, it's a bit nerve-wracking, it's a bit tension at times, but it was all good. It was all good. Everyone laughed at the right points of the speech. I didn't upset anyone.
Oh.
And got a cool present. So, yeah, it was all good.
What was the cool present?
I
Did you not see it on
actually know.
Facebook?
I don't go on Facebook, do I?
No, the socks were cool. That was like a
Oh, you got
before
another present too?
Yeah, I got the Rock Mankind double box set pop figure as my gift for being best man, which is the Walmart exclusive one.
She knows
so I don't
you
know
well.
when my sister tracked that down. Yeah, but it was good. But she said she got it because that was like her memories of growing up. She said it was us playing that. Well, part of her memory of growing up was us playing that on the N64 in the kitchen, and her like wandering in, and maybe we'd let her have a go now and then and stuff like that. She said, yeah, that was why she got that one, because that was what she remembered. So that was quite nice.
That's cool.
So yeah. So have we had time to watch much? I haven't watched much at the moment, but myself. But
I have watched absolutely nothing. I've not even picked up the space thing that we were talking about the other week that I said I was quite enjoying, but that killed some time.
The Star Trek one.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
the
was in
Orville.
Star Trek.
Orville,
The
yeah.
Orville. Oh, I have watched that. Oh, and obviously the Cup final. Go Lionesses.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But,
Football came home.
well, I didn't, though, did it? Because the whole song's about the World Cup coming home and men's football. So actually, they should have written a new song for the women.
Ooh.
No, what I mean is they're rehashing
There's
an
a
old...
soundbite to put on
Well, no,
TikTok.
they're rehashing something, and actually they deserve their own something.
Ooh,
You know.
like the way you're crawling back out of the sun.
No, that's all I meant. You know, I'm with Ian Wright on this one. God, if I have to hear him go on about what FIFA and all that need to do now in the Premier League to get women's football. Yeah, we know.
Do you know what? He missed the trick, though. He said he should have gone at the end like FIFA, Premier League. You need to do the right thing.
Yeah. It's almost like he's trying to make himself an ambassador of the sport. Yeah.
He's found a niche.
Yeah, exactly.
There's an opening there, and he's made himself relevant again.
Yeah.
In women's football, right?
The thing I loved about the whole thing is it's a soundbite that's been on BBC News where the next day in Trafalgar Square, where one of them goes, "We parted this, as much in the last 24 hours than we've played football. It's like, I kind of see where you're getting, but to be fair, you've only played like 2 hours worth of football. So I'm glad you've been partying more.
You
Well,
should be.
there was
playing
games prior to the.
more. Other games.
No,
yeah.
they said in the last
get to-
24 hours.
Oh right, okay.
I did like the press conference though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favourite was the goalie whose name now escapes me, who jumped on the desk and kind of
Well, she had-
thrust herself in a football's coming home kind of way.
Well, she had her football boots on as well, so I was more than impressed with that.
Yeah.
If I'd have tried that, I'd have slipped up on my ass.
Fair play, Lionesses.
The
But,
lioness is raw.
and back to the podcast. Paul, what you been watching?
Okay, so as I'm the only one,
I
that's
watched a
actually-
couple of things. But
So for this episode, I'm going to hit you with two things.
cool.
Yeah,
You
Oh,
can
well,
tell
maybe
us.
three.
or-
Yeah,
maybe-
exactly. The suspense is killing us.
You
Tell
can
us.
tell us? Or?
maybe 3 or 4. Because I have been watching some stuff. It's just I don't want it all to be me speaking. Okay, so a couple of films on Netflix. So first is Valley of the Dead, which is a Spanish film, but
Ooh.
so set in Second World War. I want to say
In Spain?
In Spanish, that's what.
that's right, in Spain.
España?
A down and out, I think he's a captain or something like that. Basically, he's about to get his marching orders, literally.
Le Vagabond.
But he's set off on. He's been told to go on one last mission to deliver something. On his way there, he gets basically sidetracked. Sees a plane going down. Goes to try and save them, but the pilot's already dead. Then the band of Spanish rebels attack him. Lo and behold, the dead pilot comes back to life, and we find out that the Nazis have been performing all these, experiments using a new gas to
What, like supernatural stuff? Or just
reanimates dead people into zombies, basically. Okay, so it's a zombie film, pretty much akin to most zombie films. You're not going to see anything remarkable, but it's a nice take on it. Something that I was going to say hasn't been done before, but there have been quite a lot of zombie films set in Second World War. Maybe it's just because it's Spanish, and there's a nice sense of humour going through the whole thing. It's worth a watch if it's nothing else on.
Have you seen O Zombie yet?
No.
It's the one where it's Osama is back and now he's a zombie. O Zombie.
I think
I can lend you it if you want.
I don't know. But anyway, I give that one 6 out of 10. Just. Probably a 5.8. Second one, because it was me and the middle one at Saturday night, said to get a film out.
Define the middle one for
Middle
those
child.
that may not. Aged.
She saw Jurassic Park, Jurassic World rather, Dominion. She said, "Can we watch that?"
Is that the new one?
Yeah. It's the one you can rent.
Yeah, but that's
in
the
cinemas.
latest one.
Yeah.
The latest one.
It's a bit. It's gone off on a bit of a tangent now.
This
Is
is
it
the
just
one
dinosaurs chasing people?
Well, it's not just dinosaurs. They've introduced clones in the real world as well. So there's
clones of dinosaurs or people.
So there's a girl that's a clone.
Ooh.
She holds the power to solve something. There's an evil organization that's basically set a plague of huge locusts
Have
roaming
they
the
got a
world.
cool acronym that's like,
No, it's something like Genesis or something.
bit boring.
That's a no then.
But it's just so weird and random, and they bring back Jeff Goldblum and
Are they clones?
the other two from the original. No, they're definitely not clones.
Is he half fly?
No, but he's aged well. He's still quite a dapper lad. Sam Neill's back, but it's just really pointless. It really is. If they're going to make the whole thing about this is allegedly it's the last one until next time probably, but you think, well, let's go off on a bang and do something spectacular, and they've just brought out this garbage.
It sounds like it could now branch out into a series.
No,
But there's one clone left somewhere.
Yeah.
no,
And
no. They just
and the least employable actor can star in the series.
really they need to put it where the dinosaurs are now, dead,
in the
fossilized,
in the centre of the
underground. Bury it deep. Forget Jurassic World, Jurassic Park. It's probably going to be Jurassic Galaxy next, where they go off into space.
And
but
that's
no,
where I buy in.
3 or 4 out of 10 at best, and that's me being generous. But I'm going to end on a high.
Jurassic Emmanuel.
A bit weird. That would be a bit weird. Seeing dinosaurs get hit on.
Especially the T-Rex.
Yeah, there probably are some films out there with that, some anime, But yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to leave on a high note for the stuff that I've watched this week, and this is Grey Man.
Oh,
Is this the new Netflix super action?
Yeah, so this is the one.
I've heard good things. I haven't had a chance to watch it
So
yet.
this is one that big budget. I think it was over $200 million or whatever to make it. So I think I spoke a while ago about the one with Ryan Reynolds and
you spoke about every film
Dwayne
Ryan Reynolds has
Johnson.
ever been in.
That for some
If
reason.
there's a film that's got Ryan Reynolds in, you've spoken about it.
Yeah, which I
So-
didn't think was that great. So I went into this one with all the hype saying this is really good. And it is really good. So it's Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans. Chris Evans the bad guy. Ryan Gosling's the secret agent type guy. But they do what they do for this film really well. It's a good action film. It's not pretending to be an Oscar, nominee or anything like that. The action sequences are really good. There's some genuine humor in there, some touching moments as well. All the ingredients for a good action film. And it's really nice seeing Chris Evans play quite a sadistic bad guy as well.
Yeah. Well, he needed
after Captain
something to
America.
show his range, didn't he? 'Cause
Yeah, I don't
he's-
think he really needed the tash, but but yeah, he's got one anyway. But no, it's definitely worth a watch because it's free if you subscribe to Netflix, and it's a good blockbuster. Sequences up there with John Wick, better than Tom Cruise malarkey that's been around. All of the Mission Impossible stuff, and yeah, definitely worth a watch. 8.5 out of 10.
It's on my list for the holidays. Cool.
We out.
Well, I have now finished.
I thought you weren't watching anything.
I said I watched a few things.
I thought you said you hadn't watched anything.
I
Otherwise,
said
I
I
would have
watched
just
a
rattled
few
on.
things.
Go on, what have you
Well,
been
you said
watching?
you was only going to mention 2 things, and you went on to do 3.
Yeah.
So
I took the back there and said I might do 3. Might do 4.
Okay. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah. No, I've now finished the latest series of Star Trek Discovery. They're all on the Paramount app, and I've now finished it. It kind of tied up everything with a nice little bow, but it was a bit, it was a nice ending. But it was like, do we want a nice ending? We want a bit more, because there's going to be another series.
Oh, I was going to say, if it's the last...
so it's like, but it was kind of like
No
okay.
cliffhangers or
and
anything.
it's kind of tidied everything nice, and everyone's in the right place now. So when the new series starts, they're pretty much just
And
going to
in
be
the end credits, there wasn't like a random Klingon with a doomsday device
Like,
going,
yeah, next time, gadget. No, it was, I don't know, it was just all done with, it wasn't rubbish, but it was all kind of, there's all these mysteries and things, and they all get answered. It's all done with a nice bow, and it's almost set up now like it ends like Earth rejoins Starfleet at the end, because it's all in the future and all that. And it's almost set up now to just be Star Trek from Series 4, where they seek out new life and new civilizations and boldly go where no one's gone before. And like we've already got 15 Star Trek shows that do that.
and some that aren't Star Trek
yeah,
shows.
And yeah, well, we'll get to that in a minute. and that was built through it, and it built it up, and it was good, but I was just like, it was just sort of bit,
But meh.
yeah.
Okay, what else?
But and the latest episode of the Orville was amazing. The best episode they've done, easily a 9 out of 10. Lots, without giving much away, 'cause I know different people are watching it at different points. Lots of threads come together. Lots of things that are little seeds that have been laid over the last 3 seasons kind of all come together to a big climatic ending, which is awesome. But next week's is the last episode of the series. So it's like, that should have been the last episode. I don't know what they're going to do now. Because it's
tie a bow around it, like
it could be
Discovery,
the last
and everyone
one, couldn't
goes
it?
out happily.
that's
It
the
hasn't
thing.
got a home at the moment, has it?
Well, it's Hulu, but it's whether or not Hulu want it again for another series.
Yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the next episode. Because like you say, there is a campaign for it to stay on Hulu and all that, but they have tied. I guess, thinking of it like that, I guess they have tied everything up on the stories they've been telling and the little seeds they've been dropping through it. But just be interesting to see what they do in the last one now. I hope it doesn't end with an explosion. Just so who comes back if they do get a new series. But no, really good, and it has been very much looking back at it now. There's been a lot of long-term storytelling. Is it long-term storytelling? Is that the right word?
It works.
Or long-form storytelling, maybe, where there's just even the littlest bits from episodes and things and threads, kind of all. Yeah, it was really good. And
Are you a bit emotional?
no, I'm just really surprised it comes from the guy that did Family Guy and Ted, because I mean the guy's obviously a clearly good writer, and it's totally not ended up the series I think he intended to make at the beginning, because I think he was going for like a Galaxy Questy type thing, but it's turned into like a decent, serious sci-fi with humour in it that can stand on its own feet and not just be the funny Star Trek or the whatever, the clone of, or the better Star Trek, whatever one. But yeah, well done.
Spotlight.
The spotlight now turns to our feature production of the evening, Empire Records. It debuted in 1995 and was written by Carol Heikkinen and directed by Alan Moyle, and it follows a group of record store employees over the course of one crazy Rex Manning day at work. As the events unfold, the Empire Records gang stop the store from being sold to the large evil Music Town chain, whilst learning about each other along the way. Heikkinen had worked at Tower Records at one point in Phoenix, Arizona, and when the film came out, a lot of her co-workers said that a lot of the sort of anecdotes and little bits that popped up during the film were based on what actually happened in their store, and that store finally closed in 2005. 2 days after Regency Enterprises executive Michael Davison gave approval to proceed with making Empire Records, he was approached with another script for a film called Clueless. As he had already committed to a teen movie, he turned down Clueless, and it went to someone else and made $57 million at the box office, whilst Empire Records made $0.3 million at the box office. But over time, it grew in cult status thanks to videos, soundtracks, DVDs, etc., and is now seen by me as a lot cooler than Clueless.
I've never seen Clueless, so can't comment. Don't ever have any desire to see Clueless. So
I've seen both.
The only thing I remember that it was on a little while ago, and Ant-Man was in it, Paul Rudd, and he still looks the same.
Yeah,
he's ageless.
yeah, he doesn't
The
age.
man is a vampire. So, yeah, just to start with then, any initial thoughts and memories of Empire Records? Maybe the first time you heard of it, saw it.
Liv Tyler. That's pretty much all I could remember from the film. I loved Liv Tyler.
Fair, I think we all did.
Yeah. I didn't even remember Renée Zellweger was in it. Otherwise, I'd have been even more excited.
That's Renée Zellweger version 1.
Yeah. Before she was cloned or whatever happened to her. But yeah, no, literally all I can remember was Liv Tyler. And I think I got most of it confused with the John Cusack film.
High Fidelity.
Yeah. In my head, I think the two of them mashed up. But that's literally all I can remember about Empire Records.
Damien.
It was another one of those random cinema trips. So I know I saw it at the cinema. Didn't know who Renée Zellweger was at the time, so kept getting her confused with what's her name?
Joey Lauren
Adams. Liv Tyler. Yep, that was the main draw for me. Went to the cinema and there's Liv Tyler's in it. Okay, yeah, we're going to see that. Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, this is another one I think I found on video at some point. Or
Video.
On a movie channel. Yeah, do you remember them?
Those big
And it was
clunky
like,
things.
what, there's a bunch of kids that work at a record store? Yes. Sounds like my kind of thing. and then what, Gwara in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just sort of watched it, and 'cause I don't think I saw it at the time. It was a couple of years later. Again, I don't even know how much of a run it got over here because it didn't even get that much of a run in America, which didn't help. And also, they didn't really push it or promote it that much, which is probably another reason it didn't do that well. Cough, cough. But yeah. So yeah, okay then. Let's have a look at the cast then. It's a who's who now on our casting notes. You've got Anthony LaPaglia as Joe Reeves, the record shop owner. Rory Cochrane, fresh from Dazed and Confused, as Lucas, the night manager. Ethan Randall, who's now Ethan Embry, as Mark. Johnny Whitworth, you've got Robin Tunney as Deborah, although Angelina Jolie actually auditioned for the role of Deborah, the sort of punk girl. I don't know, emo punk girl, I guess, whatever you call it at the time. But
I think that would have blew my mind if I'd had Angelina Jolie in
no,
the
but
same
they
film.
thought she was a bit too wayward in that. They weren't sure, she might actually, with what some of the stuff Deborah does, they were a bit worried she might go a bit method on it and all that. Thought she was a bit too mad, bit too crazy, bit too probably like her in real life. As I say, Renee Zellweger as Gina, Liv Tyler as Corey Mason, and then you had rock star Cody Shivers as Burko. Shivers was actually Liv Tyler's stepdad at the time of filming, so that was probably a bit weird. And he lied about how old he was. Producers actually wanted Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day to play the role, and he was up for it, but his touring schedule wouldn't allow it. You had Brendan Sexton as Warren the shoplifter. He went on to sort of be a good character actor. The legendary Grease 2's Maxwell Caulfield as Rex Manning. Debbie Mazer as Jane, James Kimo Willis as Eddie, Ben Bird as Mitchell Beck, and yeah, so that sort of rounded up the cast. Some interesting notes from the cast. Debbie Mazer and Anthony Paglia appeared together as a couple 2 years earlier even, in So I Married an Axe Murderer. And Liv Tyler and Ethan Embry would move on the following year to both be in That Thing That You Do.
Or That Thing You Do.
That Thing You Do, yeah. Tom Hanks directed that one, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Maxwell Caulfield's stepdaughter, Melissa Caulfield, is the ballet dancer in the early scene where Mark's cleaning up with the headphones on. So he got her some work. But here's some things we need to know about. The film was severely edited in post-production. The studio took the knife to it. It removed 3 significant characters, including the character of Andre that was played by Tobey Maguire. And up to 40 minutes were stripped from the film. It was originally over 2 days and then got cut down, so they had to sort of redo it, so it was all in 1 day. And also, Rory Cochrane and Renee Zellweger were dating at the time after they met filming Dazed and Confused, where Zellweger was basically an extra, and they would go on to appear in Love and a Point 45. So the film was made, kind of got butchered by the studio, and could have had an even bigger cast than it did. Can't really imagine it with Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day in it, and Angelina Jolie. that would have just pushed it to even more craziness. But a good cast, I think, well rounded. It's very much the tick box teen cast, isn't it? I think you've got your sort of happy one, your perfect one. It goes back. Your Breakfast Club templates are there, aren't they?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Any favourites in the cast for anyone, apart from Liv Tyler?
Oh no, then.
Okay, anyone you identified with?
No.
Oh, fine.
No, I'm not being flippant. It's just that they were, as I said, like the Breakfast Club, but a bit out there, even more so in a lot of ways, which I found really, really bizarre. As
Well, it's 10 years on from the Breakfast Club, so
It's the 90s, man.
I don't know, but what I really felt with this second time watching is it felt like it should have been made in the 80s more so than the Breakfast Club. It just didn't play well with me watching it. It was just more over the top. And it didn't seem like it had moved on any from the Breakfast Club. It was literally, it worked well 10 years ago. Let's pick it up and put it in a music store type thing.
Okay. Is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
But wouldn't you say that has the teen moved on that much that life isn't like the Breakfast Club anymore?
No, but it didn't depict real life teens, did it? Yeah, you had the over the top weed guy that we've seen so many times in films in the 80s that they've just picked up and put in this. You had Liv Tyler and Rennie Russo. Rennie Russo, that would have been interesting. Rennie Zellweger, that again were playing two characters that we've seen so many times before. Oh, you've got a perfect life. Oh, but I haven't really. I'm all upset.
Yeah, but isn't that most films?
Yeah, no, exactly. So again, rewatching it, I didn't see anything different.
I'm not just going
and even the humour seemed again more from the 80s. It's almost like they hadn't moved on from the 80s.
So what should they have been
But
doing?
had we moved on from the 80s by 1995?
Well, this is
you were
my
watching
point.
it in 2020.
Yeah, no, exactly. This
What
is me-
year are we in?
This is me watching it in 2022, and again,
in a room without a view.
but with these eyes on now, it's like, well, it's a bit samey, really, isn't it? They haven't really done anything different.
I'm not going to lie to you. I got a bit bored watching it this time round, but
and I think we were saying about some of the other films over the last couple of weeks. I was really disappointed with it. I'm not going to lie. It's just
I left it wanting to work in a record shop again, but then I don't think I've changed since the 80s. So
no, you haven't. No.
Record shops have though.
Yeah, I know.
They're now a lot cooler.
And a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
You don't have to put an import sticker on anything to charge people more for it nowadays. No, I think it done what it did though. I think I think there are films that come out now will have the same what's the word I'm looking for? Same character types, and normally they all have problems or they all get murdered one at a time. That seems to be what happens to these characters in films. They either all band together with their crazy differences and everyone gets on with life, or they get murdered by someone. That seems to be what happens to these people in most films.
In most teen films, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is it the fact that, I mean, we'll go into the plot in a minute, but is it the fact as older gentlemen now, do we need more from it? In 1995, was that enough to keep us entertained? Did we enjoy it then? Is it now we're like, well, I want to know why Eddie works at a pizza stop and a record shop. Why does he do that? Is he supporting a family? Has he got an ill mum? Do I need to know a backstory more? Do I need to know like why Mitchell Beck, the evil store owner, took it over because his dad was a hippie? What's the story there? Do I need to see that in a prequel? Do I need more depth to it? What
No, I don't think so. I think it's just purely the fact that when you were that age, so in 95, we were 17?
Coming on 18.
17, 18.
Were we more optimistic then?
No,
Well,
we
we
just
damn in the
dossed
man, I
about
want
and
the same
didn't do a lot. We worked because we had to. We went to college or uni, whatever, at that age because we had to.
Yeah.
And when we weren't doing either of those two things, we just hung out. And this is what this film is. Kids hanging out. They just happen to be working at the same time. I think the only question I've got about the entire setup of the record shop is that it seems to be the record shop's on its arse, yet he can manage to employ God knows how many people.
Yeah.
Minimum wage or no minimum wage, that's a big wage bill. It's not like they're waitresses, they rely on tips.
And it's not just like them making money, they're actually costing him a lot of money.
Yeah. And also,
It's like, what, are you running a youth club and getting donations or something?
yeah, but he was helping them as well, wasn't he? He wasn't doing it for
Well,
them.
we're probably going to talk about that more as we go through.
Yeah, no, I just wonder if it's more as adults now. We and the fact that we've probably watched it a million times as well doesn't help, because it's like anything, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because I know I had it on video and then DVD.
Yeah.
Didn't get to the Blu-ray stage.
I just think people want a bit more from films nowadays. Not just us, but even teen movies. For those aimed at teens, they're expecting a bit more of a storyline, a bit more character development. It's not enough just to have a depressed girl that shaves her head, tries to commit herself, but didn't really. She was just crying for help.
I don't disagree with that, but I think in the context of this film, and it's funny, it's only just dawned on me. I think so. We did Empire Records, we did Breakfast Club,
Yeah,
we did
Dazed and Confused.
Dazed and Confused. there's at least 3. I think there even might be another one where actually those 3 films, they're one day.
Yeah.
So you don't have that time to do the correct. There's a lot of assumptions that have to be made. So you know with
Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller, yeah,
That was
it. I knew there was another one.
All on cultfaction.com.
So you've maybe used my train of thought. There isn't
all one day.
Yeah, so there's a lot of assumptions you have to make about the characters that you're watching. So you know you have to assume that she's got a hard life and that's why she's been self-harming and why she attempted to kill herself. You have to assume there's a lot of pressure on Liv Tyler's character to do well at school and that's why she's a speed freak. You have to assume that Renée Zellweger's character has got a shitty home life of some sort and that's why daddy issues as it gets called in the States. So that's why she's the character that she is. You haven't got time to do the whole
and the other bit in the defence of that again is that 40 minutes got cut by the studio.
Well, no, exactly, and that's what I was going to say. Yeah,
2 to 1 day. So I don't think we'll ever get. We'll get into it later on. A lot of the scenes have emerged since, and some other bits, like Warren the shoplifter had a sister. She's gone as well. She got shot. But so we don't know if this is the film that it was supposed to be. But yeah, okay. Well, we'll go through the plot because obviously there are aspects that we can talk about relating to what we've just discussed. So, once upon a time at an independent record store called Empire Records in Delaware, employee Lucas, Rory Cochrane, has been tasked by store manager Joe with closing the store for the first time. Whilst counting the day's receipts in Joe's office, he discovers that it's about to be sold and converted into a branch of Music Town, a large national store chain. Determined to keep the store independent, Lucas hatches a plan declaring the time to hesitate is through, quoting Jim Morrison from The Doors, and he takes the day's takings of $9,000 to Atlantic City, New Jersey, where he bets it all on craps. He's successful the first time and doubles his money, but then loses it all on the second. So my first question was, what record store makes $9,000 in one day?
Yeah, which kind of pisses on my point just now.
Yeah,
but...
that's what I mean. It's just, but I was just when I was watching it now, years ago, didn't even know he lost all the money.
Yeah, it didn't bat.
But then it was like, if it was the week's take-ins or something, it was like you haven't banked the day's take-ins, and he does. He does say the day's take-ins.
Yeah.
In the thing, and it was like, but I thought that was a great scene. I'm not sure the geography.
No, I don't know where Delaware is compared to Atlantic City. But,
yeah, but
I mean, there must be a reason it's not Vegas, so maybe Atlantic City is quite close to Delaware.
But I liked his kind of switch into a Zen-like state and how he played it. And at that point, Rory Cochrane was about to become the greatest new character actor in American history, in my eyes, after this and Days Are Confused. But then it didn't really happen. He ended up... Actually, I think everyone in this thing ended up in CSI at some point. So, yeah, thoughts on the opening. Paul? You must have liked the Doors quote.
Yeah, no, it was all good up to this point.
It was all good up to this point, up until the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I mean, it set up well. He was being trusted to shut down the store, which was obviously a big deal, and he gets a bit more money for it. Then goes to Atlantic City and loses it. Yeah, cool. We all kind of knew that was going to happen from the get-go. I didn't necessarily like, and we're going to talk about it, how he does go to that Zen-like state, because there was no real big epiphany. There was nothing, he'd gone from this wacky teen to almost everything's going to be fine. And then took on a different, as you said, more insightful, almost Buddha-like state.
Yeah. Mr. Miyagi, I think they call him in the film.
But no, the setup was fine.
Okay, Damien.
Well, I guess at this point you haven't got a clue what's going on. Other than so that Zen-like thing, you're right, Paul. It doesn't make any sense. But then we're only 7 or 8 minutes into the film, so maybe at this point you're thinking, oh, he's one of those kind of Jeff Goldblum types. Do you know what I mean?
He's wearing similar garb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it is a little bit. It does start off a bit strange. And he does. It's immediately breaking the fourth wall, isn't it? It's only been a week since I watched it, but I'm now struggling to remember. But
Because he almost the time that hesitates for it is almost to us.
Yeah.
And it does happen a few. Normally it's Mark through the film, but there are a couple of times where, like different, we almost get a wink or a nudge from the character.
Yeah. Okay, so the following morning, fellow Empire employees AJ and Mark find Lucas, who confides in them about the previous night's events just before riding off on his motorcycle. They panic at what might happen, but continue on as if they know nothing. Joe arrives and quickly receives a frantic phone call about the missing deposits from both the bank and the store's owner, Mitchell Beck. Other employees arrive, including overachieving high school student Corey and her uninhibited best friend Gina.
I was trying to put that in a nice way.
Yeah. Corey has decided she will lose her virginity to visiting store guest, faded pop star Rex Manning.
I really like this scene. This just reminded me, I had flashbacks to working in Superdrug, like the different people as they work it, come in at different times and the different characters and people you work with and stuff like that. And
yeah, this scene does give you a good idea
up,
of who people are.
And also like the what's the word? The temperament of the store, the vibe of the store, because it's kind of right. You guys come in, they start doing their bit. He's doing his bit over there. Everyone, they're all a bit weird. Probably shouldn't be friends,
it's
but
the
they're only
build-up.
because they work there.
It's the build-up and it's the calm before the storm. It literally is when you're opening up a store before, something really goes down and everyone's all hands on deck. So, yeah.
And I like the built-up anticipation of Rex Manning as well, because we're like, well, who is this guy? Because Liv Tyler wants to get doinked by him, so he must be cool. I just thought it was a great little opening scene that almost, if you didn't have the first bit, it would stand on its own as a good opening to begin with. Just sort of the morning, the chaos of getting the store ready before you open, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Deb then arrives for a shift, giving the other two girls the middle finger on the way past them. We already get the hate relationship between the three of them. As she walks past, you can spot a poster on the till saying, "Have a nice days," the logo for Dazed and Confused, which also starred Rory Cochrane and Zellweger and James Willis, as I think you've already mentioned.
Yeah.
Back to Deb, she has survived an apparent suicide attempt. She heads straight to the bathroom and shaves off her hair. Then noticing Lucas's arrival, Joe confronts him about the missing deposit, and Lucas then goes in to confirm the money was lost. Luckily for Lucas, Joe is distracted by Rex Manning Day, as we all are. Lucas is instructed not to move from the couch in the staff room. The staff continued to mock Manning for his fan base turn up and consist of older women, gay men, and daughters getting autographs for their older mothers. Rex Manning music video, Say No More, Mon Amour, which was quite funny, which was shot on Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina in one day. And was also shot prior to the principal photography intended as 17-second dance movie piece for the main actors and actresses to make fun of. However, the music video director shot the entire day and gave the producers a 4-minute, 30-second music video.
Which I think annoyed them. Because they wanted one clip and it came out with a fully produced music video.
But they got the money out of it because it was always on loop in the background.
That's it. And it is, it does the rounds now. It's even on YouTube now, it's still a big hit.
And I must admit, perfect casting for Rex.
I think fair play to him for doing it because he almost, without being horrible to him, he almost is that character of he was Grease too. He was the Colby's dynasty and all that, and he ended up in Casualty, didn't he, for ages, or Holby,
so.
one of those,
one of them, yeah,
and all that, and so Maxwell Caulfield, we salute you, and Rex Manning will live on forever. But I love, this is just a great way of, and Debbie Mazur is his agent as well, and she's like about how Rex Manning tested positive with young males or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then they make the comment about did they check him against their sexuality and stuff like that. And the whole queue, whilst predictable, was quite nice. You had the guy, like the fanboy and the old ladies, and then the young girl, and it's like, it's not for me, it's for my mum. I've never heard of you. And that's the sort of thing those poor people have to deal with. And I thought that was pretty cool. And just the still the arrogance of him thinking that he is still like a big star
And relevant.
and
It's
relevant,
more
yeah.
relevant that
Yeah. And obviously also like Lucas not being allowed to leave the couch, which kind of becomes a background gag as
Yeah.
the film carries on with bits and pieces. Anyone else?
No.
Okay, then. So the day continues at Empire Records, and Lucas is still not allowed off the couch. Although there is a nice bit where he spots a shoplifter, and I don't know. I just really like the bit where he's just chatting away, but he's taking his shoes off and putting his trainers on because
Yeah.
he knows he's about to chase after the shoplifter.
and
it's just
he took part
casually
of the
done.
couch with him.
Yeah, and he got the cushion with him as well, so he didn't technically leave the couch. And but just the whole bit where he's putting his trainers on, he's chatting away, and then he goes and walks
Yeah.
up to him.
See,
And,
that kind of makes it almost loaded with a backstory that he's the guy that catches the
Yeah.
shoplifters. It's almost.
yeah, he's got the trainers ready
Yeah.
for if
Yeah.
it happens. Yeah. And then and I like the bit as well where you got Mark doing the shoplifter, and then you get the commentary on the store microphone as well by Gina and all that. Yeah, and they basically he chases him round. We have a sort of humorous chase scene where I did read the guy that was the stunt double in the chase scene for Warren, the shoplifter. When the door opened, he get hit. He actually got cracked and done a couple of ribs because I think the guy opened it too early or something before he was ready to take the impact. But they catch the shoplifter and they have a Polaroid thing where they get him to hold up what he stole and take a picture of him. And he says that his name is Warren Beatty. So then Warren gets condemned to the couch with Lucas until the police arrive. So then encouraged by Gina, Corey then goes to indulge her crush on Rex Manning and sort of, I don't know what you call it, tries to seduce him, whatever, but he's kind of not that bothered and just says, all right, hop on if you want. And then she sort of, I think, realises how cheap it is and sort of runs off humiliated and dejected. Just at the same time when AJ has decided he's going to tell her that he loves her. And obviously it all gets a bit awkward and she screams at him and he runs off and all the misunderstanding begins.
Yeah, well, hasn't AJ...
He set himself
He's
a time,
committed
hasn't he?
to...
Yeah.
With,
He had to tell her by
1
By
o'clock
11.
or something.
or 2
Then it was
o'clock.
12. And then it was definitely...
Yeah.
We've all been there. And and it was just that thing. So and it ends up in a whole miscommunication of like, you're a good friend and I don't need this right now and all that, and it gets a bit orcs. But
Orcs.
that's what young people say now.
Right, okay.
And keeping it because it's a teen movie and we're going to sound like teens, isn't it, blood? And so you get a lot in there. You get a lot of sort of her character, and you sort of start to see that maybe Corey isn't the full deck of cards that she appears to be compared to everyone else.
She hasn't got it together as much as people think.
That sounds better.
Yeah.
I made it sound.
You made
like
it sound like she was a
crazy
pork
girl.
pie short of a picnic, but
Yeah.
that's not quite what you meant.
I don't know. Her ideas later on, but and you get that. You get an introduction of Warren. You get a bit more of Lucas, and like you say, this whole Warren was supposed to have a sister as well that got cut out. So again, I think like you saying, I think there's a lot more there that may have hit the cutting room floor that could have opened that scene up a lot more rather than
I think all that
chase.
did what it needed to do. I think it was short to the point, and hit the nail on the head with all those different sequences.
Yeah. I think what
it
was
was
there
really
was
good.
good, but I just think they might have been able to make more. I liked when he went through what CDs he'd stolen,
Yeah.
and it was like Whitney Houston.
Well,
It was
he's
like,
one of my favourite characters
Yeah.
in the entire film. Just something-
he's good.
he makes me laugh.
And I forgot what the other I was going to say now. Oh, and when he has to take the picture of him as well, holding the CDs
Yeah.
up and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, it was good.
and it's posing.
Okay, so then Gina and Corey argue. Gina ends up having her way with Rex Manning on the photocopier. When the staff discover this, AJ attacks Manning. Gina reveals Corey's addiction to amphetamines. Corey hysterically trashes the store, and Joe tells Manning to leave. Later, Gina dances in only a Music Town apron she found in the storeroom. Joe then explains his anti-Music Town plan to his employees. He saved enough money to become part owner of the store to save it, but will now be $9,000 short as he must cover the missing money. He gives staff members Music Town contract with their rules and conditions. Warren is taken away by the
I
police.
do like that. Poor Warren. But he vows revenge and he'd come back. But what I liked as well is like I've been holding this off a long time, but you guys just keep arsing around. So here's what's going to happen, and the way although it is a bit cheap writing, the Music Town contract conditions unites everyone because everyone hates it. No visible tattoos, no short skirts, no revealing body parts.
But you also kind of think, well, actually, if he put enough manners on them in the first place and had enough rules and actually, discipline, then he wouldn't have been in that problem in the first place.
Welcome to Nazi Records.
Well, it's not that, is it? It's just being a boss. And I think we get this a few times, is actually, does he want to be a boss of a company and make money and have staff that do what they should be doing? Or does he want to be a youth worker? And not a very good one at that.
Although to be fair, in a day he takes $9,000, so he's doing something right.
Yeah, but imagine what he could make if they were doing it properly.
Imagine on a Rex Manning day, he's probably doubled that.
Yeah.
But but you're right. This is where the more youth worker side of Joe comes out. What do we think of that as in the film? We get a bit more in a minute, but we're starting to see that kind of. Everyone's suddenly got like a Joe story almost, haven't they? Like, Joe done that for me, or Joe done that.
Yeah, I just think it's a bit of a stretch. I wouldn't go as far as to say he needs to be beating them every time they do something wrong, as Paul seems to be insinuating.
No, I didn't say that. I just.
But I think for someone
the Empire
whose
Records should be wearing brown shirts.
For someone whose livelihood depends on people working in the store, it's a bit of a stretch for him to be taking in waif and strays that have got no experience or no real desire to work.
I think the other thing which was slightly disappointing for me as well is because, why has he got the store? If it's about his love of music, it would be nicer not just to have him doing a little drum solo. Whilst all the shop workers are putting on their CDs, and I quite like that bit, like they all get a veto as well.
If it's a bad song,
It would have been quite cool if he imparted some of his older tunes or said, actually, turn off all this crap. Let's have something from, I don't know, whoever.
Oh, they do dance to AC/DC.
Yeah, but again, if he's going to be the old wizened Yoda figure when it comes to music, then I guess a bit more of those touches would have been nicer, as his love of music stores as opposed to just drums. That's
not just some guy that likes hanging around with teenagers like Wooderson from Days of Confused.
Okay, so moving on. So Deb surprisingly attempts to cheer Corey up, and in return she holds a mock funeral for Deb with the whole staff. The shop,
AJ left on the till.
Yeah. My idea of cheering someone up isn't probably probably a mock funeral, but again, it's to make everyone her realise how everyone was going to miss her if she did.
Again, Corey's not in a good place at the moment either.
Yeah, shoplifter Warren returns with a gun. Okay, it was filled with blanks, but people didn't know that at the time, and everyone freaks out. Lucas diffuses the situation by revealing that he himself has a troubled youth until he was taken in and saved by Joe. He, in turn, offers Warren a job at the store. After police leave, Lucas admits defeat and suggests confessing the truth about the missing money to Mitchell. However, the staff try to replace the missing money, but can only raise $3,000.
So again, I like that bit. The seriousness kicks back in now, and Deb sold her moped.
Yeah, but again,
and Warren got a job.
The whole thing about... And I'm not dissing Warren, so hang on a minute. All right, but the whole thing about him being a great youth worker, or whatever he is, that whole funeral scene where I think after it, she says, "You're going to try and save me now, Warren." He doesn't know what to say, so he says something like, "You're doing a great job," or something. So he doesn't really go into to try and find out what's actually up with her and how to help her. And again. I'm not dissing the film, but if they're trying to make him out like this...
No, but I think you said Warren there. You meant
Joe. So Joe,
yeah.
Are you going to save me, Joe? I think it's one of those things where actually all she needs to hear is just that. It's just that little something. It's not. She doesn't need to hear platitudes and nonsense about that you kind of now see on social media. All those inspirational quotes and all that malarkey.
You're right, hun.
No, not even that. But so this is just like you're doing a good job. That's all you need to know. That's all you need right now. You don't need me to give you some
Yeah, stream
ridiculous
of bullshit. type
stream of
thing, is it?
bullshit. Yeah,
You are
exactly.
doing a good job. Keep going. Don't worry. It's not like, every sunrise is a new beginning or whatever. But I do love the fact that, like, Warren is basically holding the store up because he wants a job. He doesn't want to see anything. He just wants to work there. It's like, he
He's
takes
seen how cool it
$9,000
is.
from you. Yeah, he takes $9,000 from you and you're like, shit, you're going to give me a job? And it's just like, is that what you want then? Because, like you say, we're under his management scheme, we can afford
Yeah.
Warren as well.
Yeah, we got oodles of money for more staff.
Yeah.
It's just what we need.
Although to be fair,
What your references
Liv Tyler
like.
will be moving on soon because she's off to
Oh, yeah,
college.
and
Oh,
AJ's
that's
off as
true,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, so they're all
He's playing for the student market, isn't he?
yeah.
And again, if one of your members, workers, has just committed suicide, you've got to think,
Or tries to commit suicide.
Yeah.
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 I
You
do
definitely
like,
got to replace them if they have committed suicide.
I do like the
confuse me
confession.
with the
though,
funeral.
that- I do like the confession because at the beginning it's like I tried to get into rock and roll heaven, but I wasn't on the guest list. And then when you actually talk about it, it was like a pink lady bick, and it was just like,
Yeah.
and she just scratched her wrist up, and it
Yeah.
wasn't really as.
No, but as she said, it was a cry for help.
Yeah.
She didn't actually want to go through with it.
But it was that sort of thing of like, yeah, I'm pretty cool. And in the end, she just said, yeah, I was a twat. It was a lady bick. It didn't even do anything. It was sort of, yeah. Which again, the growth of Debs. But yeah, that was cool. But yeah, Warren. I'd like a film now where Warren's running the shop.
Yeah, he
There's a
took
guy
over
called
from
Joey
Joe.
once.
Yeah, just a picture of him on the
Yeah.
wall. Or even better, a picture of him as a down and out with 2 CDs in front. Just, like he's got a big bushy beard and long
Well-
hair. Okay, moving on. Suddenly inspired, Mark runs in front of the news crew, which is covering the hold-up that Warren has recently performed, and announces on live TV that there's a late-night benefit party at the store to damn the man and save the empire. An impromptu concert on the roof by Gina and Burko, another employee, which we don't really get a lot of Burko, do we?
No, you kind of
No.
get the bit. Is Deb's okay? And it's
Yeah.
like, so you're getting there's something there.
There's something there, and he's always got his guitar in his
Yeah.
hand, but he's very much just in the background.
I feel if it was Billy Joe Armstrong, he may have got more lines. as
Yeah,
a
quite
character.
possibly. Yeah. He's
And
almost
again-
just like a session player that
Yeah.
just hangs about in the background when he's needed.
Yeah.
So they raise funds so Joe can hand the money raised back to Mitchell to buy the store. Corey finally finds a dejected AJ on the roof fixing the Empire Records sign and confesses that she loves him too. He decides to attend an art school in Boston to be near her while she attends Harvard. They kiss and the staff ends a long day with a dance party on the roof.
With Warren. Warren's there.
Warren's there.
Yeah, weird ending, but it had to end at some point, didn't it? And again, like you say, it ends at the night time, so it's almost like one 24-hour moment.
Yeah.
Although no one's running the store at one point because they're all on the roof. But I think people in there are used to it because I did like the bit earlier actually when it was just Mark and it was really busy. It's like,
He can't take it,
help
yeah.
me. But yeah, the ending was what the ending was, but they were never not going to save the store, were they?
No.
No. Although it was interesting that actually didn't really need to, raise a lot of money because the guy was just going to hand it over anyway. Just wanted out by looks of it.
Yeah, I think they pushed him to breaking
Yeah.
point. Oh, that was the nice bit. Does anyone work here? Yeah, I do. Ah,
Yeah.
good old Warren.
Good old Warren. He's the hero of this
Yeah,
film.
maybe Warren is like it's the next generation, like we say. Now we need to see they all go off to uni, and then Warren's running things. But yeah, a good ending, I guess. It's the feel good ending. They stuck it to the man, which was big in the 90s. A lot of films are about sticking it to the man in the 90s. They saved the store, and everyone may have lived happily ever after.
We assume so.
Yeah, they should have done a Animal House. Corey went here and he did that, and then they did that. That'd have been quite cool. And one of the deleted scenes is the band getting arrested and took away by the police as well. And there's another bit, I'm just trying to remember now, where Rex Manning gives AJ some advice after he finds him sat around the back of the store, and he comes clean about how he's. But again, that all got cut out.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. So that's the ending. Thoughts on the ending?
Bit like an episode of Friends.
Well, it was the 90s.
Yeah.
And it's a team movie. It's
Yeah.
all got to wrap up nicely and be happy at the end.
Yeah, you can't have those teens going out moody. They might shave their heads and get a lady bick. But yeah, it was right. It was a punch to the air. We damned the man,
And they saved music.
as we know it.
For another 5 years or so, anyway.
In Delaware. It was announced on April 6th, 2018, that a musical adaptation of the movie was aiming for Broadway in 2020. The announcement stated the show will be produced by Bill Weiner, music and lyrics by Zoe Starr, and based off the book by Carol Heikkinen. But obviously, COVID came along and put a big halt on all that, so we're waiting to see what happens with that. But it could come back as a musical, much like Hairspray did and other sort of films that didn't do so well.
I don't care. I hate musicals.
Yeah. Well, I think it'd be nice if they actually just kept the songs that were in the film. I don't want it to be like, I'm gonna open my record store now.
Yeah, but then
That's-
they have to
that's
pay
what it'll be.
royalties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or whatever. That's copyrighted, by the way. There was a 2003 DVD re-release entitled Empire Records Remix, the Special Fan Edition, and that featured newly released scenes, new deleted scenes, special features, and of course the Rex Manning Say No More, Money More video. However, it also cut a few popular lines out from the original movie. The 2015 Blu-ray release returned the original theatrical cut and included all the other stuff as extras and bonuses. There was also a Sugar High soundtrack controversy, because in the movie you can clearly hear Renée Zellweger singing her parts, but on the soundtrack that bit's not on there. And the mystery of how it was, Coyote Shivers said during an interview with Consequence of Sound that the version that he and Zellweger sang in the movie, the record company didn't want it on the soundtrack, and because they thought it was too loud. So basically what we've got on the soundtrack is like the rough background mix which they were playing along to or miming along to when they were performing the scene. So they never
Okay.
actually recorded a proper one. It was like a rough draft. So that's why a lot of people go, why does Renée Zellweger not sing on the soundtrack? Is it because she wants money for it? It's like, no, it was never recorded. It wasn't supposed to be on the soundtrack, but it became like the song everyone wanted. I think they were putting their money on the Gin Blossoms being like the hit single off of the
Yeah.
soundtrack. Another footnote, in 2013, Ethan Embry and several other of the cast members attended an outdoor screening of the film at LA's Silver Lake neighborhood, which is when they'd realised just how much people loved the movie. He said it was like, let's just go and watch it and make fun of ourselves, he told Vanity Fair. And then I took a picture of the five of us together and exploded on Twitter, and we all sat there wondering why. The cast reunited again in July 2014 for another screening, where 4,000 fans came for the day with a Q&A session, and they also last got together for Rex Manning Day in 2018. So it is something, and then COVID came in just after that. But it is something that
The two
does
weren't
keep
related.
coming back. Yeah. It is something that keeps coming back.
Rex Manning's patient zero.
On. It does, well, he did get around. So, the legacy of Empire
That'd be more like
Records is
monkeypox.
it's bigger now than it was when it came out. And it does grow. I think a musical could do it, but I don't want it to be like that. I think a stage show of it, would work more than a musical.
But they still have the same issues with the rights to all the songs. They have their original songs.
Yeah, but you can still have Say No More, Nor No More.
True.
Which I do feel they missed a trick on. Maybe you could have like a Rex Manning spin-off or something.
No.
Like that. Yeah, I do.
And
But,
you're the only one.
Probably.
Exactly.
Well, you're the only one who went to see it at the cinema, so we're all right.
all right. Damien might have
But,
had other reasons.
Yeah, so there's a lot there that's happened after the film. And, I mean, you do get that sometimes. There are many films. We were talking about Repo Man a while back where, the film ended up becoming bigger afterwards, again, because of a soundtrack. This one, again, the soundtrack done better than the film did.
Yeah.
I can't remember, was it that Cecil and Egbert said it was a... Is that right? Is it Egbert, the American
Yeah.
famous critic? They said that it was a soundtrack in search of a movie. That was their review.
I like that.
But yeah, but I think it done what it did. It was a teen drama. No one was going in looking for deep Lynchian metaphors.
No one ever
or-
goes in looking for deep Lynchian metaphors.
Brett
or
did.
whatever
They just
else.
find you and they're stuck with you for the next
that's
20
why
years.
like David Lynch.
Or, we weren't looking for big explosions and,
But I think that's the thing. It's not a teen drama, is it? It's a teen comedy. I think it does it well. You know, I know I'm being a bit negative about it, but that's because I've got my 45-year-old eyes in. But at the time, it did. Yeah, it was bubblegum movie
Yeah,
watching.
there you go. I like that.
It was the
It's
movie version of Travis. Bubblegum rock that...
Travis,
It wasn't
Yeah.
that bad.
they were deep and brooding.
They weren't. They're bubblegum nonsense rock.
moody.
Yeah, but it's still the same difference.
Why does it
Shite.
always rain on me?
Yeah,
It was like emos for townies.
exactly. So, I mean, there's no depth to it.
Yeah, but it's not uplifting. This is the
Yeah,
film is.
This came out and you wanted to own a record shop or work in one,
Yeah,
All right. Just...
especially if it made $9,000 a day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not
You
going.
want to own it if it...
Not go and cry in the rain. Would you? But yeah, as said a few times, it does what it needed to do, I guess, for teens at the time.
I just think for me, the memory of the film was better than rewatching it.
Yeah, and as I mentioned about Dazed and Confused, I'm not fussed about ever watching it again.
No, me neither.
Or
Yeah,
this-
I think it's one of those ones every few years. It
No.
deserves
No.
a watch.
No,
I
not for me.
always say that though.
Yeah, you always say that, and we always say no.
That's because I still like things. Nah, but I know what you mean. I mean, it'd be nice to see if we ever got the extra 40 minutes put together properly, just to see what it was. But then you don't want to change it too much. If it is, it suddenly becomes a moody, temperamental teen. I'm going to kill myself. No, you're not. Or
Yeah, I mean,
depression
I know you
sort of
said
thing.
the studio interfered, but there's probably a reason it was cut.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for this film was it was a nice stepping stone for a lot of the actors.
Yeah.
So-
I mean,
so, yeah,
it
as
was
we
a good
mentioned-
training ground for all the CSI,
Well,
NYPDs.
so yeah, if the cast, career salaries were a reflection of the film and where they went on to, then it was a success, wasn't it, for Hollywood?
Yeah. Again, if they made it now, it would cost a lot more to make. Because everyone, there's about 5 or 6 out of the main sort of 8 that are.
If they made it now, people would go,
Later.
"What's a record store?"
Yeah, that's true. God, can you imagine that?
It's one of those places where the guys in corduroys
Yeah,
go and pay like £400 for a Billy Joel original or something.
Billy Joel.
Is that how much you paid?
Probably is nowadays, isn't it? Original Billy Joel.
Oh, that's why he makes $9,000 a day.
Yeah,
Okay, then. So, final thoughts then, and a rating out of 10, Mr. Hawkins.
So I've said my final thoughts. Rating out of 10 in today's market, I'd give it a 5.
Ooh.
But that's my 45-year-old eyes, and it didn't do enough to take me back to that era. I think I got more out of Dazed and Confused, if I'm completely honest, because I could resonate with being a teen going to some random house party. Never worked in a record store, so just from that vibe just didn't do it with me. But yeah, at the time of watching, I'd probably give it a 9 or 10 just for Liv Tyler and Renée Zellweger.
Okay. Damien?
So again, I've already said my final thought, which is the memory of it is better than rewatching it, but I'd still give it a high 7 because I still got that vibe that I was talking about earlier, where you're at that age, you just hang out with your mate, or your colleagues in this
no
case.
pressures, apart from saving your place of employment.
Yeah, but then they're not doing that to save their place of employment because most of them moving on anyway.
Yeah.
They're doing it to repay Joe. That's what they don't want Joe to be working in a
Music Town.
Tower. Let's say
or-
Tower Records. Then it's basically what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
it's
That's
not
what she
about.
based it on. Yeah.
They're not doing it to save themselves. They're doing it to repay Joe.
And
So
then-
yeah, it's a high 7 for me because I still got that vibe, those long days. You don't get long days like that anymore. Not when you're 45. Your days just go. You wake up in the morning, before you know it, you're sat here at 10 to 10 in the evening talking nonsense
Yeah.
in a
Not-
garage.
Not
So
doing a 10 to 2 shift in a supermarket or a
With your
Superdrug
whole
or whatever.
life.
Yeah.
That just
With your
seems
whole
like
life ahead of
10
you.
months long.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, when summers used to feel like 10 years, and now they blink of an eye and they're gone.
They're gone, exactly.
Unless you're a teacher and you get like 10 years off for summer.
So yeah, it's a high 7 for me.
Yeah, I would say the same. I think half of my enjoyment of it is the nostalgia and memories tied up with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's
And you used to work in a shop anyway, so that probably had
super drug for life, baby.
yes, helped you out a bit. For
So
me,
did
I didn't.
I used to work in a shop.
No, exactly. But I'm saying I didn't. No. So that's
No,
bubble that.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
so similar to
Yeah.
Days to Confuse. I did used to hang out and I did used to go to parties. I didn't work in a shop and have all that camaraderie and all that kind of stuff when you rock up at.
It's because
So-
no one liked you.
I just didn't go for work. So yeah,
that's fair enough. And I think I'd go a solid 7. I think it still stands up against the other films that we've looked at and the other films of the genre. And apparently it's still in the top, I can't remember if it's the top 200 or top 250 films of all time on IMDb
Okay.
for a rating. So,
of films set in a music shop.
In one day.
because I was like, is that
Liv
worth
Tyler.
mentioning? If it's in the top 250, is that worth mentioning? I thought, well, there's been a lot of films though, so
Yeah.
it's still
There
pretty
has
good.
been a lot of films.
I'd be happy.
They
to
keep
be
making them as well.
Yeah, it just won't stop.
So that
In
brings
the case
our
of Marvel, I wish they would.
Empire Records spotlight to a close. Do go and check the film out. If you can find the special edition one, give it a watch. Let us know of any of the other bits that we might not have seen before. For all of our information, you just need to go to cultfaction.com, the mothership of everything we do. Please check out our podcast on the various podcast apps that are available. Please give us a review and a rating. It really does help us out a lot and pushes us up the charts. We don't want to be the 250th liked podcast. We want to at least be in the top 100.
Actually, yeah, I'd settle for 250.
So would I.
That'd be quite good. Stepping stones.
So yeah, check us out cultfaction.com, all the different social medias. If you're dying to talk to us or interact with us, you can email us at
cultfactionpodcast@mail.com.
boom. There you go.
The only thing I can remember.
We will see you next time. Where can we reveal?
Yep, we are doing Say Anything.
Say anything.
Carrying on
Spotlight Say
our...
Anything. And similar
What
to
have we called this?
Super Teen Movie
Super Teen
Summer,
Movie Odysseys Summer Special.
Yeah. So
whatever.
we're not just going to be saying anything
No, we won't
like
be-
normally on a
no,
podcast.
it's
It
the
will
spotlight on
We'll be saying
Say
anything about Say
Yeah.
Anything.
So thank you for listening. I've been Brett Summers.
I've been Paul Hawkins tonight.
I have been and still am Damien Hicks.
Damn the man, save the empire.
Good night.
When I think about my life, I want to kiss myself goodbye. Sugar high, sugar
We trying to be nice to everyone.
Oh,
Now
okay.
it's shit.
I
Take your programs and
fucking
shove them up
hate
your
it.
ass. Do you really? Oh, it's Tiffany. She's at Disney World. And she's found the cakes.
So where does it say on here? It's a quote. Just Lena dances.
It's in speech marks.
When do you think it can be a fucking speech mark? It's